Hello and howdy, Internet. What is up? Today, I want to talk about Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And what sort of Pokemon would match well with the characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! So here's how it works. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at some of our main Duel Monsters characters, namely protagonists Yugi Moto, Seto Kaiba, and Joey Wheeler, and build a 6-member Pokemon team for each of them. Each team is based on some of their most iconic cards, with each Pokemon corresponding to a specific card. First up, let's kick things off with the king of games himself, Yugi Moto. We'll base his team on the Dark Magician Girl, Valkyrian, the Magna Warrior, the Summoned Skull, Karibo, and of course, his Egyptian god monster, Slifer the Sky Dragon. So let's dive in. Starting off with the Dark Magician, Yugi's signature monster and probably the most recognizable card in his deck. For this spot, we're going to start off with Abra, who we're also going to say was probably Yugi's starter Pokemon when he first began his journey. Its psychic abilities mirror the illusory abilities of the Dark Magician, it's brimming with potential and can evolve into more powerful forms like the Dark Magician. I think this is a natural choice for Yugi's first Pokemon partner. And, as Yugi trains and battles his way through the equivalent of the Pokemon League, Abra would grow and become more powerful as well. So we'll just say that by the time Yugi reaches what I'll call the Battle City Pokemon League, I imagine that little Abra would have evolved all the way up to Alakazam, making him a permanent mainstay unit of Yugi's team. Next we have the Dark Magician Girl, the Dark Magician's trusty sidekick on the battlefield. For her, we've chosen Gardevoir. With her elegant mystical aura and powerful psychic abilities, Gardevoir feels like the perfect match for the Dark Magician Girl. I like to think that Yugi encountered her during a challenging battle and maybe even used Alakazam to bring her onto the team. Together, Alakazam and Gardevoir would make a perfect formidable duo, perfect for double battles. Honorable mention here goes out to Miss Magius, who was the runner-up for this slot, but ultimately, Gardevoir won out. For Valkyrian the Magna Warrior, this one was really kind of a no-brainer. The combination of 3 Magnet Warriors, it could really only be Magneton, a Pokemon that appears to be a combination of 3 smaller Magnet Pokemon. With its Steel and Electric typing, Magneton has both the raw power and the durability to stand in for Valkyrian, and, just like Valkyrian, Magneton is a fusion of different parts that come together to create something truly formidable. Plus, the metallic aesthetic totally matches Valkyrian's armored vibe, so we're gonna go with that. Then there's the Summoned Skull, an undead monster with a powerful lightning strike ability. This was one of the harder monsters to match up, and I considered swapping him out for something like Chimera just to make this video easier, until I found Dusknoir, a ghost-type Pokemon with some skeletal aspects that mirror those of the Summoned Skull. It looks dark and foreboding, and, as an added bonus, it can learn Thunder Punch, making it a parallel to the card's primary means of attack. And of course, no Yugi team would be complete without Karibo, the lovable and surprisingly useful little furball. Karibo was another one where I could have gone in a lot of different directions, but ultimately, I landed on Kabuto, the fossil Pokemon. It's small, it's adorable, and much like Karibo, it can learn defensive moves like Harden and Protect, mirroring Karibo's ability to negate battle damage. If there were an adorable furball Pokemon that could learn Self-Destruct, I'd have gone with that, but alas. Special mention does go out to Venonat, who almost got this slot on looks alone, but its poison typing really didn't make a lot of sense, so oh well. And finally we have Slifer the Sky Dragon, Yugi's Egyptian god card and ultimate trump card. There were several possible choices here. Originally I was thinking a shiny red Gyarados, maybe a Centiskorch, but if we're being honest, we really needed a legendary to fill this slot, a Pokemon that exudes the power of a god. And so there's really no other choice than Rayquaza. This flying dragon type is the perfect representation of Slifer, with its long serpentine body and dominion over the skies. It's the kind of Pokemon that Yugi would reserve for only the most challenging of battles, his ace in the hole, ready to turn the tide when things get tough. So in summary, we've rounded out Yugi's team with Abracadabra Alakazam, Gardevoir, Magneton, Dusknoir, Kabuto, and Rayquaza. Not the most balanced of teams, but hopefully his Sky Dragon will pick up some of the slack in a pinch. Moving on to Yugi's main rival, Seto Kaiba. To build his team, I needed to choose 6 of his most used cards, which was actually harder than you might expect. Ultimately, I settled on his signature Blue Eyes White Dragon, the Battle Ox, Kaiser Seahorse, XYZ Dragon Cannon, Soggy the Dark Clown, and Obelisk the Tormentor. Kicking things off with the star of Kaiba's deck, the Blue Eyes White Dragon. For this powerhouse, we're gonna go with none other than Reshiram. Reshiram, the Dragon Fire-type legendary, is as close as we can get to the power and the majesty of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. It's regal, it's the right color, it's got the strength that makes it the perfect choice for Kaiba's signature card. And, mirroring the priest Seto's encounter with the white dragon in the Duel Monsters anime, we'll say that Kaiba met and befriended Reshiram as a child, making his starter Pokemon a legendary. Talk about overpowered the first time you stroll up to a gym battle. Honorable mention does go out to Lugia, who was going to take this slot until I started working on Joey's team, which you'll understand in another minute or two. Next up, we have the Battle Ox, Kaiba's trusted beast warrior. For this role, we're gonna go with Tauros. With its bull-like design and fierce nature, Tauros perfectly captures the spirit of the Battle Ox. Its brute force approach to battle lines up with the beatdown strategy that Kaiba usually employs, making it an obvious choice for this slot. Then we have Kaiser Seahorse, for which we'll naturally go with the Seahorse Pokemon, Kingdra. It's elegant, it's regal, it brings some typing variety to the team. What's not to love? For XYZ Dragon Cannon, Kaiba's fusion of machinery and firepower, we're choosing Metagross. Metagross's steel typing, mechanical design, and powerful moves make it a perfect fit for the XYZ Dragon Cannon, and its robotic appearance and strategic battle style align with Kaiba's advanced, tech-savvy mindset. An honorable mention for this one does go out to Magnezone, but I decided to forego that choice since Yugi was already using Magneton. Then we have Soggy the Dark Clown, the stuff of absolute nightmares in Kaiba's deck. For Soggy, we're choosing Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime's quirky and somewhat eerie vibe mirrors Soggy's dark and unsettling clown aesthetic. Like the creepy clown, Mr. Mime is not so much known for power, but it does have some tricky moves that make it useful for stalling and confusing opponents, much like how Kaiba uses Soggy as a strategic piece rather than a powerhouse. Plus, the psychic abilities of Mr. Mime add a layer of mischief that's kinda perfect for this role. Finally, we have Obelisk the Tormentor, Kaiba's Egyptian god card and the ultimate symbol of strength in his deck. For this slot, we're going to go with a shiny Regigigas. Regigigas is a colossal-sized powerhouse, making it a fitting representation of Obelisk's godlike power. This is the kind of Pokemon that Kaiba would call out every time he wanted to flex in front of lesser trainers, or really drive home the point that his opponents are simply third-rate trainers with fourth-rate balls. Wait, no, that didn't come out right. So in summary, here it is, Seto Kaiba's ultimate Pokemon team. Reshiram, Tauros, Kingdra, Metagross, Mr. Mime, and Regigigas. Each Pokemon captures the spirit and power of Kaiba's legendary cards, from the raw might of the Blue Eyes White Dragon to the divine strength of Obelisk the Tormentor. And last but certainly not least, well, probably not least, well, kind of least, Joey Wheeler. For Joey's team, we're pulling 6 of his most famous cards, with those being Red Eyes Black Dragon, the Flame Swordsman, Baby Dragon, Gearfried the Iron Knight, Guilford the Lightning, and the Time Wizard. Let's do it. For the Red Eyes Black Dragon, Joey's signature monster, we're going to go with Zekrom. Obviously, we're going with Zekrom. If Reshiram is the Blue Eyes White Dragon, Zekrom had to be the Red Eyes Black Dragon. Its dark aesthetic makes it a perfect stand-in for Red Eyes. Zekrom embodies the raw potential and dark energy of Joey's dragon, and its powerful attacks match Red Eyes' fighting spirit. This is Joey's powerhouse, the monster that he'll bring out whenever he just needs to beat down an obstacle in his way. Next, for the Flame Swordsman, we're going to be going with Blaziken. Blaziken's fire and fighting type and its strong martial arts-inspired design make it a pretty good match for the Flame Swordsman. If you could give this Pokemon a sword, it would be the absolute perfect representation of the Flame Swordsman itself. For Baby Dragon, one of Joey's beloved creatures, we're going to go with Charmander. It's cute, it's fiery, it's a perfect stand-in for Baby Dragon. While it may seem small, Charmander has the potential to grow and evolve into something far stronger, just like how Joey often evolves Baby Dragon into Thousand Dragon. Charmander's evolutionary line captures the theme of growth and the potential that's central to both Joey's character and the Baby Dragon itself. For Gearfried the Iron Knight, we're going to go with Bisharp. It's a dark steel type with blades for arms, its moveset revolves around hacking and slashing. What more could you want for a Gearfried stand-in? This one was also kind of a no-brainer. Then, for Guilford the Lightning, Joey's powerful finisher, we're gonna go with Zero Aura. Zero Aura's electric typing and speed make it an ideal representation of Guilford's lightning-infused attacks. It packs a punch, and just like Pikachu and Ash, I like to believe that it occasionally electrocutes Joey. It's the perfect Pokemon for him. And finally, bringing us to the very end, we have Time Wizard, for which there was really only one clear counterpart, Celebi. It feels a little weird to give Kaiba and Joey 2 legendaries while Yugi only got 1, but I couldn't leave Time Wizard off this list, and with its power over time, Celebi was kind of the most natural choice. But I like to believe that like the Time Wizard, Celebi's powers wouldn't always work the way that Joey wants, and therefore he'd end up in the wrong place in time just as often as it works out exactly the way that he wants it to. So in summary, Joey's full team consists of Zekrom, Blaziken, Charmander, Bisharp, Zeraora, and Celebi.
And that rounds out the Pokemon that I would give to our heroes from Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters.
But of course, this video wouldn't be complete without matching all these teams up to see who is the very best, like no one ever was. I started out by searching the web for any good Pokemon battle simulators and found, to my shock and horror, there aren't really any good ones that let the CPU control both teams. If you know of one, please let me know in the comments because using that probably would have been way easier than what I actually ended up doing. Undeterred that the internet had not provided, I decided to spend the next 8.5 hours learning how to use ChatGPT and Python to code my very own Pokemon battle simulator. It ended up being super rudimentary, but I think it did the trick, creating a database that incorporated all 18 of these Pokemon and forcing the contestants to battle each other 10 times each, and the results were, well, kind of amusing. Coming in last place, we have Yugi Moto, who was defeated by Joey 6 out of 10 times and defeated by Kaiba a whopping 9 out of 10 times. He might be the king of games, but it's clear that he doesn't have what it takes to be a Pokemon master. At least not with only one legendary on his team. Probably not a fair fight when we think about it, but oh well. That just left the heavyweight bout between Seto Kaiba and Joey Wheeler. 10 no-holds-bar simulations where we declared the newest Pokemon champion to be, drumroll please, Joey Wheeler, who won a narrow 6 out of 10 simulations against the billionaire boy genius Kaiba. I knew you could do it, buddy. I had faith in you. Now, if we're being honest, I'm sure this was a highly imperfect simulation. The vast majority of the code was written by an AI program over the course of a day, so I'm willing to bet that there might be a few screw-ups and unaccounted variables in there somewhere, but this was a fun exercise nonetheless. But what do you think of these Pokemon for these duelists? Are these the teams that you would have built for them, or are there some other mons that you would have given them instead? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and also let me know if you'd like me to build out more Pokemon teams for other Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters. Hit the subscribe bell thing if you want to see those, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!